Why are we taking this car again, Mitsuru?
Akihiko-san grumbles from the backseat of the Shadow Operatives' personal limousine. I'm not sure how to put this, but I find that his feelings are justified.
Don't question it, Akihiko. There was no time to prepare a vehicle with the same equipment. Speaking of appearances, are you gonna wear that again?
Don't question it, Akihiko. We were already having to get artists to make so much more art for, like, the end of Adachi's episode and stuff. We didn't have time to get another limo set up.
Sure. There's a chance that we'll have to fight after all. These clothes give me the flexibility I need.
I wanna die! I hate this track! It stands out as being awful so much more because it's one of the only, like, 3 tracks in Persona history that suck!
Impressive, Akihiko-san. You never change.
Why did they tell the woman singing these lines to be like, hey, can you imitate the sound of a dying cat, please? And go like, wow, whoa, and they're like, yeah, we'll do it.
Still, to think that the culprit would make a move so soon. You've completely lost the initiative.
Indeed. We need to begin taking measures right now. I only hope no danger comes to Narukami and his friends.
Mitsuru-san seems deeply agitated. During the car ride, she seemed distracted. At times, she would flip through the thick file in her lap, only to suddenly give an order to a subordinate, and at other times, she would stare intently at her watch as if lost in thought. Mitsuru wears a watch? I never noticed. Her usual regal composure is gone.
Mitsuru-san, why don't we just ask them to cooperate with us?
I agree. They seem pretty strong.
No, they're still young. If I asked for their assistance, it would waste time better spent at school. Worse yet, it would put them in danger. I don't want anyone else to have to go through that anymore.
I understand how you feel, but they don't seem like the kind who'd listen. No, we were the same way back then.
Yes. Welcome to stream, General Teddy. Oh, thank goodness it ended. Mitsuru-san falls silent. It's likely not a mistake to think that the sudden spike in shadow activity this time is related to the events of a few days ago. It has become apparent to everyone that another dangerous battle is about to begin. A few days ago? Are you talking about the P-1 Grand Prix? I thought that this game implied that it happened literally a day ago. The timeline in this makes no sense to me, but you know what? All that matters is that the Arena games led to us getting Labras.
We have new information. Kikuno sent me a message. I tasked Kikuno with reviewing Ergo Research's quarantine server. But it seems new evidence has come to light regarding Ikutsuki, who we discussed in our earlier conversation. According to the report, it seems Ikutsuki was performing an experiment on his own in the lab directly after the explosion. It's unknown if this is related to our current mission, but there was a record of a plume of dusk being used in the experiment.
A plume of dusk.
A plume of dusk, an object that blurs the line between matter and information and is fitted into anti-shadow weapons like myself. It forms the core of our personality modules and is what allows us to control personas even though we are machines.
So, what are the details of this experiment? Nothing good, I bet.
Ikutsuki was...
Limousine's engine suddenly roars, drowning out further conversation. It seems the road we are taking has begun to climb a steep hillside. As the car takes a winding road up the slope, I can look down through the window and see lush trees along the mountainside. Welcome to stream, Sammy. I've never heard someone hold so much contempt for a Persona track before. Listen, dude, Persona music, 3, 4, and 5, all of them, phenomenal. Some of the best music in gaming. The fact that that track is so bad, it becomes so much, like, it's so stark to have such a piece of garbage around just a bunch of beautiful gems and diamonds that is the rest of the Persona soundtrack. It's insane. There was like, I think the fog music in Persona 4 I really didn't like either. It's very rare that I think of a track in Persona and I'm like, yep, I hated that. Usually it's either I love it or just like, I'm okay with it. For a moment I thought I sensed a shadow reading. Could it have just been my imagination?
Yamagishi, tell me our current location.
One moment. I'm looking it up now. We're currently in Inaba Pass. We're almost at the target coordinates. What is this?
What's wrong? An ambush?
What's happening? Driver, what's going on? Answer me!
It's just like during the hijacking.
Aegis!
On it! A barrier!
Are we trapped?
How did Aegis make that appear on her arm like that? Where did that come from? Yo, Yukari, let's go. Battle with Merlion, and then we got Ken, the honor student. More Koromaru in my life, please. Please. Oh, this battle is gonna be her doing a Featherman scene. I actually can't wait. I actually can't friggin' wait, dude. It's gonna be so funny, I bet. Oh, man. You hated the bank song in Persona 5 at first? Well, no, you don't understand. The Kanashiro's bank music in Persona 5 is designed for people to hear it and be like, what the heck, this sucks. And then after they're forced to listen to it for like 30 minutes to 2 hours, they form a Stockholm Syndrome relationship where they're like, you know what, actually, this song is banging. So the Kanashiro music is good. You just don't realize it at first until it forces you to. I gotta do Ken first because he's got my boy Koromaru. Let's get in it.
Man, you were amazing.
Thanks for cheering for me.
You're a real hit with the ladies.
I'm gonna get going for today.
Okay, you better be this good next time, too.
Leave it to me.
He turned Ken into a Casanova. It must be Koromaru's influence. Yes!
I'm home, Koromaru.
I love him! I would die for Koromaru. There's some time until dinner, so I decide to leave the dorm again with Koromaru. Keep in my head canon, Koromaru is the son of Snowy, the dog that interacted with Labris. I don't know if Snowy was male or female, don't know if it's his dad or his mom, but relation, maybe they're cousins even, I don't know. Relation, definitely there. Second headcanon, if a dog has a persona, its lifespan is increased by at least double. So my man Koromaru is gonna live to be at least 30, if not longer. He deserves it. I like this music a lot. I like this track. This is some really nice, like, not necessarily sad music. It's like bordering sad music, but it's not quite there. It's more like just, like, friendship music, like hanging out music. Apparently Snowy is a small white dog, so I'm not so sure. Koromaru is a white sheep. He's more silver, but he's a white sheep. It fits. It works. Also, like, Shiba Inus, I mean, I'm not sure if I'd call them small, more like medium-sized dogs, but they're not big dogs. So I think it could work. In my world, it fits. There's some time until dinner, so I decide to leave the dorm again with Koromaru. This Gekugan dormitory is where we live. It was briefly closed after Mitsuru-san and the others graduated. All the equipment from a few years ago was removed, of course, but with the increase in students at Gekukan, they decided to reopen the dorm. I applied for a room as soon as I heard. The reason I did was because of Koromaru. He had been in Aigis-san's care, but at this dorm he'd be allowed to live with me. Also, to be honest, I felt that living here let me stay close to my companions who are fighting even now. Back then, everyone took turns walking Koromaru. Now it's my job. The path to the nearby Naganaki Shrine is Koromaru's usual route. Koromaru is quite old for a dog, but as he trots along at his usual pace, along our usual path, it makes me think for a moment that all the fighting back then was just a dream. Only when I'm watching Koromaru walk like this can I forget everything and feel a little at ease. We pass through the gateway at the entrance and step onto the shrine grounds. Since it's nearly sundown, there's nobody but us in this serene atmosphere. I sit down on a bench inside of myself. Koromaru notices though and immediately rushes over to nuzzle my leg.
It's nothing, Koromaru.
Even while I'm saying it, I'm sure Koromaru can see through my words. I can't understand him in the same way Aiga-san can, but even I can tell what Koromaru is thinking. I pet Koromaru and he looks up at me with a worried whine, and I put my hand in my pocket to pull out the Shadow Operative badge that Mitsuru-san had given me. Koromaru wears the same badge on his collar.
Even if she gave me this, I know it's just for show. I bet everyone else is working hard right now.
This morning, I got a call from Sanada-san for the first time in a long while. It seems he'd just come back to Japan from a year-long training journey. Wandering the world, I knew he was the kind of person who would put himself through anything in order to get stronger, but this is the sort of thing that you only hear about in stories. Sanada-san told me that he had gone to see Mitsuru-san directly after his return to this country, but had been immediately dispatched to an emergency. He's currently busy with that, so he just said that he would tell me more about his trip some other time. I know that being a Shadow Operative must be tough, but he seems so excited when talking about them, so it's like I get these pent-up feelings inside.
I'm a member too, you know.
A member, yes, but only as part of a secondary unit that only gets called out in extreme situations. Being part of a special suppression unit has a cool ring to it that I like, but the official Shadow Operatives are each given a unique number. For example, Aiga-san is member number 5. I thought Aigas was number 3 for some reason. We don't have that. We're just auxiliary members. I haven't been called to action yet, and I doubt I ever will be until after I graduate high school. Honestly, I feel for Ken here. That's gotta be rough, having been part of, like, the whole SEAS operation so young, and then since the others, like, graduated high school and they're, like, adults now, and they're, like, a big, like, the Shadow Operatives is their deal and all, and they're doing stuff, for Ken to want to be in that same position, to, like, be an actual member of the thing, like Aigas and Mitsuru are, but he's forced to be an auxiliary member. Like, Junpei and Yukari get to be auxiliary members by choice, I imagine. They chose to be auxiliary members instead of main members. But Ken, since he's still so young, doesn't really get that option. That's gotta be hard, after having gone through what you did, like, as a 10-year-old. I feel for that. After all, I did promise Mitsuru-san that I would try to live out my childhood as much as I could.
I'm just for show too.
In following that promise to try as much as I could, I've been acting like a child on the surface. An average middle school student, studying, helping out with club activities, and even taking part in the student council. But I haven't officially joined any clubs, and the reason why is because I asked Mitsuru-san to call me for help if she ever needed me. I know that no organization under the police would be able to command an underage person, let alone someone in middle school. I'm only a Shadow Operative for show, and only a child for show. If this continues, I won't know when I'll ever be able to get back to who I really am. Dude. I remember not liking Ken as a character by the end of Persona 3, but right now, honestly, if they showed me Ken, like, if this was my first interaction with Ken, I'd be like, yo, dude, I'm interested. Show me more of this guy.
Making my life my own is actually pretty hard. Sometimes I lose sight of what I'm supposed to be doing.
I think back on the words left by the person who saved my life. I thought I'd come to understand them at one point, but as time passed, other emotions began to rear their heads.
It's completely dark now. We should head back home, Koromaru.
I wonder if I will be left behind like this. Would things actually be better if I just forgot about everything? But could I live with myself if I had the power to fight but did nothing with it? I've been thinking a lot about that. I stand up from the bench and look across the dark, quiet temple grounds. Koromaru being around Ken has, like, he's rubbing off on him. He's made Ken a better character, somehow. Koromaru, how do you do it? You're truly the best. I won't reach an answer just by thinking about it. I know that, because you have to reach out to the truth to get your answer. But at that moment, Koromaru suddenly barks at me. It's been a while since I heard him bark like this. He's been getting more and more mellow these days. What's that sound? Some rhythmic noise is approaching from up above. The wind becomes stronger and the trees around the temple begin to rustle.
That's...
I look up into the sky and a bright light turns on high above. As my eyes adjust, I see a previously hidden black helicopter in the otherwise pitch... I'm gonna stuff my throat. In the otherwise pitch black sky, it's like something out of a movie. Is it the military? No, that can't be right. As if to answer my doubts, a searchlight streams down, pinning shadows to the ground. Something's happened, that's my first thought. I don't know why, but for some reason I sense elation rising up through my body.
Let's go, Koromaru.
I grip my Shadow Operative badge tightly, then thrust it back into my pocket as I take a deep breath. I run towards the helicopter. Chat, this could be it. Persona 4 Arena might be the Ken redemption arc that I needed to make me like him as a character. It helps that he's not a child anymore. Naturally, children just get on my nerves in video games. Very rarely there is a good child character in a video game, or anime, for that matter. 9 times out of 10, they get on my last nerve. Ken, he's still only 14, but I mean, 14, that's old enough to be an anime protagonist. You're not really a kid at that point. You're a teenager. It's different if you're a teenager in anime. But I'm liking how they're framing Ken as a character now, post-Persona 3.
Here we go! Feathered chain! Phoenix Rangers!
Featherman victory!
I love it.
You come to fight me, Featherman!
Merlion, the evil forces have fallen! Stop here!
How dare you oppose me? Minionlings, get them! No!
Merlion, prepare for justice!
Don't be so sure.
Everyone, I've had enough of this! Ultimate arrow! It's over!
And cut!
Perfect. What a take.
Thank you very much!
Well done. That looked really great.
Where's my Power Rangers spin-off Persona? Do it, cowards.
Let's take
Yes!
a 10-minute break.
What's this called? Changing of Seasons, I think? I love this track. This honestly might be my favorite track from Persona 3. It's definitely up there. I love it. It takes so much longer than you expect for the beat to drop, but man, when the beat drops and the lyrics starts, it's phenomenal. This starting bit is really good too, but when the beat drops is when it really gets me. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for the beat to drop. I ain't pressing X until I get it. Any second now. Here it comes. Bum, ba, bum. Da, 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 da. I'm vibing, chat. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. When the director calls this out, the tension in the area dies away. I make my way to the simple tent used as our break room and take a sip of my drink. My scenes for today are done.
I'm tired.
You're on a roll, Feather Pink.
Huh? Do you think so?
The directors had nothing but good things to say, too. Looks like this will have a positive effect on your main job. Speaking of your next shoot.
My main job? My real job's supposed to be studying in college. I wipe the sweat from my brows. My manager excitedly tells me about the schedule for my next gig. I'd always had an interest in fashion, so I started taking modeling jobs as a way to earn some pocket money. It's pretty tough since I've had to do things like pose in the middle of winter in just a t-shirt, but thankfully I've been able to get a steady flow of commissions now. Trying to manage both classwork and my job as a model was already hard enough when my manager applied for an audition for a live-action show without my consent, claiming that I should broaden my work horizons. When I mentioned I had practiced archery in high school, it really got their attention. It all made sense to me when I learned that Feather Pink's weapon would be a bow and arrow, though. As a result, I ended up as a protector of Earth in a kids' superhero show starting this year. While my acting work makes use of different expressions and my modeling career lets me dress up a lot in a lot of different clothing, it kind of makes me feel like I'm changing who I am, too. It's insanely busy, but it's fulfilling and fun. And yet...
What's wrong? Something troubling you?
Oh, not really.
I checked my cell phone, but Mitsuru-senpai still hasn't sent me a response. I have tomorrow off, so I'd email her asking if she'd like to spend some time with me and go shopping. She's been contacting me less and less often recently, and when she does, it's because of shadows. I am one of the Shadow Operatives, a group established by Mitsuru-senpai. I understand that she wants us all to be able to have normal lives, and she said that she wouldn't hesitate to ask for my help if she ever needed it, but it still seemed to me that she was taking everything on by herself. That attitude didn't satisfy me, so I forced her to add me to her team. However, unlike Aigis and the other official members, I'm part of a special unit that only gathers in emergencies, trusted with immediately subduing shadows by force. What did she call it? The auxiliary staff? Something like that, anyway. It's wonderful that there have been no situations that called for us to be dispatched, and even if something like that did arise, the official Shadow Operatives are all excellent. There's no need to worry with the likes of Akihiko-senpai and Aigis around, but...
Is it really that hard to just send back a reply? It's Golden Week, for God's sake.
What's this? Don't tell me you've got some boyfriend trouble.
Oh, no, it's nothing like that.
We normally talk when we see each other, so I've never doubted my friendship with her. Still, when things remain unsettled, it's unsatisfying. Maybe I have to get on her case about taking everything on all by herself again. Huh, there's something loud going on outside.
What? What's this helicopter doing here? Is there a helicopter in this shooting script?
Huh?
As the sound gets closer, the tense walls and roof begin to undulate with an intense wind. When I rush outside, I see the crew are all looking up and causing a commotion. When I look up, there's a black helicopter descending towards the ground, dangling a rope ladder. The lady in the pilot's seat sees me and gestures towards the ladder. Oh. At that moment, it all becomes clear. I only know of one person who would do this.
I'm glad she came, but she's making too big of a scene.
I'm completely astounded by the utter absurdity of the situation, but before I know it, I'm already running towards the ladder.